Yeah. So, so open learning, when we talk about open learning, before I jump into what is, so I'll take few minutes to talk about open learning and then little about Aarohi, a little about Coversity. So that's how I'll divide about 10 minutes. So just bear with me, and then we can switch off all of these and we can have our question answers or discussions or whatever. So I start by saying that open learning is not just about children, it's whether young or old, but it's actually about the whole family. It's about how we would like to look at us as a family, us as somebody who is learning, not just in the first, whatever, 15, 20, 25 years of our life, but throughout our life. Uh, kind of, are we wanting our children and ourselves to be in charge of our lives and, yeah, kind of take it from there in terms of leading our lives. So, sorry, that's what to us open learning is more about family than actually just about children. But anyway, let me start by how we started by saying that we also thought of, hey, what's the purpose of education? And that time we were thinking about our children, and somehow what at least reverberated with us or synced with us is that education is same as living, as same as learning. So learning, living, education is all the same thing, because we learn to live and we living requires learning, and that's combination of that is education in a way, uh, which led to this thought that, hey, if that is how it is, then it has to be led by the learner, or rather the child should be leader of self. Um, and what does that mean? That would mean that the child would, we should first of all allow the child to learn, and for that matter, even an adult to learn whatever they want to, whatever each one of us want to, however we want to, and each individual assessing themselves, hey, how much have I learned? Have I learned this well? Do I want to learn this more? And so on. And this is not just limited to younger age groups. One can even chart one's professional journey this way. So many of us have actually left our so-called degrees and things and learned different things and moved on, in our life. So we have kind of been an open learner. If you are the one who has been in any kind of profession, I'm sure you are constantly learning. So you are an open learner. You're learning what you're wanting to learn or needing to learn. And also you might be changing your professions or changing the domains and things like that, where you have to kind of almost start from scratch, and it's fun, it's enjoyable, and we know that we can make a profession out of it because we are the ones who are leading our journey. So that's the basic thought behind open learning. One of the key thoughts is that it is not so much about freedom. Most people think open learning, some people call it unschooling, homeschooling, free education, open schooling, different names. Whatever name you give, people think it's about giving children freedom or anybody freedom. But I think it's more importantly giving them the responsibility of their life, saying, hello, you are responsible for what you want, how you want to live today, tomorrow, this week, this month, this year. And they are pretty much, if you look at a 1-year-old, how responsible he or she is in learning a new language, exploring everything, wanting to know how, sorry. So if we look up that way, then then it's more of the responsibility that really works for all of us. As I said, right from our younger childhood, when we are infants, they are the most responsible ones, I often feel. So if you look at it this way in terms of age group or the journey, as we call it, typically younger children are looking for a lot of exposures when we are young. As we grow a little older, we start looking for exploration. We start exploring things which interest us. Even at this age, I'm sure all of us here in this group typically are exploring things which we like exploring. And that is why we are all open learners in a way. So, and also we are gaining expertise by doing stuff. And as we gain expertise, we can convert that expertise into enterprise. By enterprise, I don't just mean you can be employed, or you can be an entrepreneur, or you can be a freelancer, whatever you want to be. But the whole idea is that, and even when we are at that stage, we are still exploring, we are still getting expertise and so on. So in that sense, we are all open learners. And the idea is to, hey, how or why not our children be open learners? Why not they lead their own life? Or rather they lead themselves. So that's the whole idea. So what is Aarohi? If you kind of a little bit got the idea of open learning the way we look at it, then Aarohi is a community of families who are connected, who stay together, not necessarily physically, but who stay connected, and we kind of support each other, learn from each other, and we co-create a lot of different opportunities even on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, that is what is Aarohi community. There are families who stay at their home, so their home becomes their first campus, and they connect from their homes. Or families who come to Aarohi campus, and but the ones who are at home doesn't just stay at their home; they are connected with everybody else from their home using technology. And the ones who want to come to campus, we come together, we live together. So that's Aarohi as a campus also. Plus, it has an online campus, you can call it. And we obviously connect with each other families. So it's not just limited to coming in one place. I can go to another family and so on. And we can also travel together. Different families can come together and travel different places. So the whole idea is to travel, to learn, to explore, to connect with different people and live life based on what one is really wanting to do. Which is where we also are putting a lot of emphasis on youth who are 15, 16, 17, 14, 18, 19, to take their own passion to profession journey. What the three things that we notice, or rather we call them as good news, is, first of all, in today's world, there's an abundance of possibilities of what any child or even a youth can do, especially a youth can do in terms of profession. So there's a huge array of possibilities, and all of them very satisfying to the one who really likes it, right? Also, we see that the youth thrive and learn from challenges. They are the one who really like doing things, not just in a simple way, but in a tough way. They like taking challenges. And if we kind of put that together, the world is also ready to embrace the youth. Not just for, when I say embrace the youth, I mean, the world is not really bothered that somebody is younger today. What is really important is who can do what work, who brings value to the table. We don't necessarily go judge people anymore just by, oh, this has 30 years of experience and somebody's younger. So young people get a lion's share of good work and enjoyable work. So if you put these three together, we come to a concept which we call as Coversity, where youth, typically 14 to 21 or even 13 to 21, they first of all find what interests them by deep diving in their initial starting interest to find out what is their real passion. And then they kind of come together and do work which is in the industry, and do work with the industry, like internships. And they're obviously supported by guides and mentors. And so that's the concept of Coversity, which we can discuss more as we do this discussion. That's for the older age group. The younger age group obviously continue to explore and enjoy their interests and do a lot of different things. Just finishing my presentation with two small announcements. So this coming 4th to 15th, we have for the youth, which are 13 to 21-year-old, a 2-week of what we call as workathon, where for 2 weeks they will take up some interesting project together, where whoever is in that group, and they will kind of think of the project and deliver the project, as well as take up some more challenges for themselves. And we also have, at the same time, concurrently, same dates, 2 weeks camp for the younger one, the 8 to 12 years old. We're calling them Creators Camp, so that they can enjoy the whole act of creating, they can create so many things. And this is just a little list on the screen. They can literally create anything they would like to do. So this is something coming up. So I thought I'll just quickly share that. Right, let me pause now. And yeah, the floor is open. So this is these Saturday meetups are very informal. Please feel free to ask questions, share your concerns, or get in or engage us in a discussion which you would like to discuss more. So it's totally driven by you. We are there, me, Kirtika, Dwiji, even Santosh has been like, we feel Santosh is part of the family. I don't know how Santosh feels. He's there almost every Saturday for God knows since when. So we are there. We are there to share what our journeys have been. All of us have been open learning families. So yeah, you can ask us or engage in questions.
Yeah, Ratnesh, so one question is, so other than these like a camps that happens in the Aarohi on a regular day, what happens? What is the usual, how does a day look in Aarohi? Because I don't think those dates are going to suit up, at least for us.
Sure. How does a day look at Aarohi? So that's a very interesting question, Pratibha. It's like almost asking, how does a day look in your life, Pratibha? So in the sense, just imagine there are like what, let's say 20 or 30 of us, and each of us wants to do what we want to do every day, which means there could be actually 30 different things happening, or actually if I am doing 5 things, so 5 into 30, it could be 150 things happening in a day, which we don't know what all will be happening. It's obviously each one deciding what each one wants to do. Somebody could be playing football for 1 hour, somebody could be doing electronics for 3 hours, somebody could be whole day doing music, somebody could be investing little time in doing 10 different things, let's say cooking, let's say gardening, let's say climbing trees, let's say whatever, chasing our pets or pets chasing them, you name it. It's like totally open. Each one decides in advance, typically a week in advance with their family. Okay, so this week broadly, this is what I'm going to do. And based on that broad weekly planning, each one decides today I want to do this. And what I want to do alone, what I want to do with somebody or with a lot of people or with the whole group, obviously evolves every day. So every day is different, every day is unique, and it's unique to each individual. So I can't really tell you what will happen, let's say this Monday.
Got you. But so other than this camps, on the other days also there will be kids and others, right? There will be more
kids and parents and grandparents. All of us will be here living our life.
Okay.
And how do we live our life? By doing things which we like doing. As I said, it could be dance, it could be making a rocket, it could be anything. Yeah. So
the kid who comes there has to just get along with others and just try learning from there. If a kid comes there, he's just going to go around and see wherever he's getting interested and just be there, right? For a new kid to be there.
Yes.
That's how it's going to look.
In a way, yes. Okay. In a way, it's like how does your child does it on the weekend, right? He or she decides, I want to do this. Today I'm going to play 2 hours cricket with my friends, but then I'm going to sit and make a painting or whatever. I don't know what your child decides. I'm just saying in general. So like that, all of us, not just the children, all of us decide what we want to do.
Okay, got you.
Does that sound exciting?
Yeah, thanks for the details. It really sounds exciting. It really sounds exciting. Actually, the way Nathan is right now, also that's how he wants to be. He doesn't want anything to be in a schedule. So I think this will suit him. But the other part I wanted to discuss is this weird. It's not like a fear. It is only like the rest of the world is into a different schedule and kind of a schooling and a kind of a background, right? I have been learning or looking out for blogs and even being part of the previous Aarohi meetups. The only thing is like I'm somehow still not able to digest whether, okay, if I put him on this route, will he be able to cope up with the rest of the world, right? So this looks like a next generation studies for sure. This is going to be the future. But since most of the stream is in regular schooling, even I have met a lot of unschooling parents, but I have still not been able to take the decision. I know I left it to myself and my kid to come to that level when we can together feel like, okay, come on, let's quit and start your own learning or your own responsibility. um, but I was requiring for some kind of suggestions. I mean, I heard like few people were there for a longer time in open learning or getting off of the regular schedule. I just wanted to understand, like, how did a change of mind happen? I know this is a vast question, but I just wanted to understand, like, how did the change of mind happen, and were there some initial difficulties, right? So here what has happened, like you said, it's a family decision. Here it's me who's pushing towards this irregularities or unscheduled, but my husband or my spouse, he's very sticking to the regular schooling. He doesn't want him to be pulled off because I mean, it's individual's perspective, right? So sometimes his points are really true. Like, if you pull this guy off of his schedule and we are not able to get a kind of a rhythm in his life right now, he feels like he'll never get into a rhythm, right? Even when you become a professional, you still have to have some rhythm schedule. So if you don't have a schedule today, you still have to end up having a schedule little later. So
but the difference is
Huh?
schedule given by others as compared to, or rather interest, not even the schedule, the interest, the area which is given by others as compared to the area in which I am interested. When I am interested in something, the schedule is no more important. I become lost in it. I become flowing in it. And I'm sure your son also does that in things where he is interested. So then schedule becomes, well, not even secondary, tertiary, I would say. And that's not something only children go through. We all as adults also, whatever we are interested in, we lose track of time. Not just track of time, we are kind of all the day thinking about it or working about it and so on. So yes, and then if in that I need to make some schedules, I need to see how to plug into other people, other resources and so on. Then those things I'm ready to make those you can say adjustments if that is something that I connect with. I think that's what we have observed. So yeah, the obvious answer to your question is come over, stay here for at least a week. We have minimum one experiencing Aarohi 1 week stay options. Plus we have these camps. So whatever works out for you, come over, stay, and then you will get a little window into what happens and how does structure happen. Structure is very much there, but each one creates their own structure. But I would like to Dwiji to share his story of how they started and the difficulties part. Difficulties will always remain, Pratibha. We are not trying to run away from any difficulty, but we are trying to see, hey, where is our heart lies, and can I kind of lead myself? Yeah, Dwiji, sorry. I've been much today.
I was about to say. But no, that's fine. What you said was very relevant. Pratibha, a couple of things. One is that the process of getting into open learning itself is a learning experience on how you are able to make your case to your spouse, to your family, to your son also to some extent, on why you feel open learning is better, right? So I'm glad you're already doing some homework, talking to a lot of families, looking up the website and also being part of these conversations. So very much encourage you to, identify what are the aspects that you feel are the strong points, why you felt that it's the learning of the future, right? I completely agree with you. Not just the future, it has been learning of the past and the present also, because the structured learning that happens is only for a limited number of hours in the day. And the rest of the day, the rest of our lives, we are still learning. It is open learning that we are practicing. So it is about giving ourselves the confidence, ourselves as in not just me as a parent, but also me as a learner, my child as a learner, my family, as people who are also learning. It's not like anybody has got this figured out, and the formal education is a 100% prescription that it will make you what your son wants to be. I'm sorry, I'm guessing it's your son.
Yes.
So make you what your child wants to be. So we are all learning. It's not like formal education is 100% success rate, and that failure is a bad thing for that matter. I mean, I don't think failure is a bad thing. Failure is the best thing that can happen, because that's when we can learn. But broadly speaking, I would say engage with this matter, and there are lots of recordings of these sessions. This is like the 170th or 180, 178 something. So there are a whole bunch of recordings. So you can browse through that, get more information, get more doubts clarified. So we can figure out some sessions where, not figure out, we already have sessions where we have discussed about this itself. So yeah, I mean, this is something that we all should engage with. I don't think either a Kritika or a Ratnesh or a Dviji or anybody else can give a formula and say, hey, tell your husband these things, and then everything will be fine. Right?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. If you can point me to the sessions which particularly had some deeper discussions, I'll go through them. Is that okay if you can? Yeah.
Good question. I don't know if we are tagging our videos. Are we tagging our videos, Kritika?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
And all of them are in that sense deeper conversation, because they are about what somebody wants to know. So it is deep for that person, may not be deep for another person. So yeah, that's difficult. But we can have, you can just in general listen to those, and talk more here. We can have a deep conversation right now. We are here with so many of us.
That's where I didn't want to take the session because others were there, so I didn't want to.
Oh, please
I
don't worry at all. Others will jump in.
I would like to tie this back to the theme of the day also, Ratnesh, because we talk about creating, and somehow when we think of creating, it's always some object or thing. But creating is also about mindsets and perspectives.
And about our life.
And about our lives, of course. I mean, mindsets, perspectives equal to life.
Equal to life.
So the idea of creating is not just doing something with your hands. It is about doing things with your hands, but it's also about working with people, working on ourselves. And how do we create our ecology, our environment, our community? Right? So this idea of creating as a learning exercise and as an integral part of learning is something that we are all engaging in this conversation also, because we are trying to create an understanding, we are trying to create a perspective on open learning and sharing them as well. So just wanted to tie it back to the theme of the day, because creation and learning through creating is what we are discussing today.
Yeah, and others, please jump in. Pratibha started the basic conversation and inviting her to go as deep as you want to go, Pratibha, but inviting others to jump in, add to this conversation, bring in your thoughts, your concerns, your ways of. Santosh, you can share how you started this journey, because people who are starting also look forward to understand how people started and how all of that. So that would be really nice, Santosh. We can take out a few minutes, and others who have joined the call, just jump into the conversation, please.
Sir, I wanted to tell one thing. My son is very small; he's just 4 years. But what I observed is when I am on leave, means when I am in home only. Suppose if I leave him free, don't give any tell do this or do this. If I don't tell anything, then suppose for 1 minute he may want to simply press the keyboard, the music keyboard. Then the very next minute he says, no, I want to do this with the crayons. I want to do painting. He will suddenly jump to that. And after a minute or two, immediately he brings storybooks and give it to me and says, tell stories to me. And if we don't channelize, or if we don't structureize it, then finally means I will not be able to cope up to his energy. Means the every minute change or sudden this thing, and suddenly he says, "No, we'll go to park now," or so. This thing seems very strange for me. Means it's new to me. He's a person, but
Sure.
uh,
Yeah, see, one is what your child is doing is very natural for a 4-year-old to do, or a 3-year. I mean, at that age, they are the ones who are exploring the world in that sense, trying this also and trying that also, and everything is enticing to them. And that's the good news. That's the beautiful, that there are so many things which are exciting to them. What we have seen is, as slowly they start getting us, when they realize, okay, so it is not about dad or mom or anybody else for that matter, even a teacher, but it is I who have to decide whether I want to do crayons or I want to do this. Then they start getting into the mode of slowly taking responsibility of what is it that they want to do, and start engaging themselves with different things. Obviously, at a younger age, they will look for a lot of exposure. We were talking about the progression, and at a younger age, they want lots and lots of exposure. You bring anything, you bring a pressure cooker in front of them, they want to know how it works and what is inside and why is there a rubber and why is there this and why is there that. So they have like 1,000 questions around pressure cooker, but the next minute they see something outside the window, a bird, then they have other questions about the bird. So, but that's beautiful, because at that time they're just hogging that exposure, and slowly as they grow older, this exposure transforms into them getting interested in certain things more than the others. And that becomes their exploration. Then they start spending more time with some activities. Let's say more time with cycling, or let's say more time with making aeroplanes, or more time with reading books, or more time with solving puzzles. I don't know what, depending on each individual, it could be very different. So that's how it's a very natural progression. So what you are describing to me is very normal.
okay.
And yeah, so that's good news. He's enjoying his life. Obviously, one of his motto is to make your life tough. In the sense,
Yes.
keep you on toes, and then that's the age. That's the age. Another 10 years later, you will go to him. Okay, at least talk to me 10 minutes in a day. So, but that will
Yes.
happen in 10 years, not now. So yeah,
Okay.
it works like that.
and, and I think it's not bad to share your constraints, Anirudh. I mean, if you feel that you cannot do something, talk to him about it, right? I mean, of course, I'm sure you do talk to him, but also engage him in a conversation rather than telling him that this is not going to happen, right? So identify what's happening, why you can't do, or that you can do it later, or some, engage in a conversation, so that you are not just telling somebody what to do and what not to do, but rather, engaging with them as an individual. And that's when the child really starts thinking, they start absorbing and co-creating. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you, Ratnesh.
That's our
Co-create.
magic word, Anirudh.
Yeah.
So it's not just about us. We are not doing anything for the child. Neither the child is doing anything for us, but we are together creating our day. So let's say if I have a holiday and I have a 4-year-old around, or a 14-year-old around, we're still co-creating our day and saying, hey, what all I want to do myself, what all I want to do, what all resources I need. This is me talking as a 55-year-old. And the 14 or the 4-year-old will share what all he wants to do. Not that whatever he says he will do, not that whatever I say I will do. And that's the co-creation. That's where we are
Okay.
together in this journey. And in some way, if I take this word in a more deeper sense, it starts answering, Pratibha, some of your doubts. When you start thinking about, yes, what will happen? Will he get a structure? Will this happen? Will he learn this? Will he develop this? All of these concerns we seem to have about future, as if it has to happen sometime later. But in open learning, we make it happen on a daily basis, because we are together. because we are kind of growing together. We need not be learning together, but we are growing together. Both as me, I also grow the same 1 year older as he or she grows a 1 year older. So now nobody is growing faster than the other, but we are growing together. I'm also thinking, talking, discussing, sharing with my child and with others in the family how I want to do things, and the same he is doing, and we all together supporting, criticizing, commenting, helping, co-doing with each other, and so on. So I'm not saying it's all rosy. I'm saying this is a full of masala, this journey of co-creation. But that's the real joy of doing it together. Yeah, that's the big, I would say, to me, the big benefit, that we as a family come together and kind of, yeah, the word together, that itself is big enough, right? That's worth it, rather than
Yeah,
the
actually,
child.
the old ways of teaching was like that, right? If there was a class of students of like 5, 6 people, like in under a guru or a stable person whom they used to go and leave kids, they were co-creating their environment. Unfortunately, now we are into the systematic kind of education with the syllabi. So a single T-shirt size kind of education is not fitting everybody.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I can clearly realize if the system was allowing kids to speak their words and speak whatever they want to do, whatever we are describing here in open learning could have happened in normal schools as well. Some typical schools where their strength is exactly, and then they can create as their friends and the teachers. But here it's like all a race behind, finishing the syllabi, the teacher getting feedback and all that. So it has become like we have to search for a different route, like what we are trying to do now. That's basically I have tried visiting different other schools who are called alternative schools or something different than the regular stream, but end of the day, if the teacher and the management doesn't understand the exact concept of how to treat these kids who are different, it's not going to be any different other than a normal school. Even they are very expensive, and they come up with a big agenda of they can recognize the kid, recognize their talent. But I feel I have ended up in 1 or 2 conversations itself, I could realize that they will get back to the same kind of a systematic schools, the agenda. Like nicely you describe the word of co-creating. Nowhere in the class is the kid and the teacher or the entire set of students co-creating anything, right? It's a single way, one way communication that happens from the teacher. And I feel at times, even if doubts are asked, they have been, stopped to ask them at the end of the period or in the break. So the kid will not cope up to this, right? He'll even forget his clarification before the end of the class that he wanted. So um I clearly understand this. The only thing is now, uh, if we are at a center like Aarohi, something is happening every day, it's easy, right? But how is this happening with families who are not really connected daily, Ratnesh, but they are online? Is that online kind of picking up with this younger kids, right? Less than 13 years, because maybe from 13 they are responsible enough by themselves. They are trying to find a pathway. But the younger kids, they are already with gadgets now. If I get them online for some sessions or something like that with your own or of your family, is this kind of working with the younger kids when they're still not in school and trying to be open learning? Just some feedback from anybody or
Yeah,
yourself.
so again, please don't think of it as that it has to first of all benefit the child. Let's start
Okay.
with, will it benefit me as a parent first? First of all, me being in a community is not just about the child. It's about me understanding, okay, so this is what this parent is doing, this is what this family is doing, this is how this child is doing. Just being connected to other people who are, and each family is doing their open learning journey in a totally different way. There is no one way, one method, one style, but it is each family's style. And within that also, each child's style will be different. Yeah, each parent's style. So as a parent, first of all, what would really, I would say, what would really first benefit is the whole idea of me connected to many other families on a regular basis. We are discussing, thinking, talking, creating, and so on. So many things are happening. Yeah. Uh, and at the same time, the child will see where I connect with others, as in other children or other adults, and that's one part of it. And that could be very high engagement or very low engagement or whatever, that we cannot predict, and that is not even important. But the child gets the sense of, okay, so this is, and the family gets the sense of it, and you start using that sense to co-create your journey at home. I think that's far more important. The community is there in, first of all, it's there for you as a support system to start with. And in so slowly you will be the support system for others. But let's say to start with, the community is a support system for you as a family. And in that background, you can start creating that environment at your home. I think that's the most important thing. As I said, the home is the first campus. Irrespective of whether the child comes to Aarohi campus or goes anywhere, or let's say goes to Dwiji's house or goes to Anirudh house, that does not matter. Finally, first it's the family. And from there, rest of the things evolve. Right? So as a family, you start understanding, exploring, co-creating these possibilities, irrespective of whether you are part of Aarohi or not. I'm just saying, as an open learning family, that's the whole approach. That is why I'm giving so much importance to it. Even this act of co-creating, first of all, the first time you will do it, it's like first time trying to ride a cycle. How you are bound to fall or almost fall. It's the same that's going to happen with co-creation. Maybe you both will go frustrated after 15 minutes. I don't want to talk to you. You'll say, I don't want to talk to you. That's very much possible. But that's the beginning of the journey to understand each other. Not just how he or she learns, but what he or she wants to do in her day-to-day life. And how can that be? And problems will come. Problems are anyway there. Whether children go to school or not, gadget can be a problem. Whether they go to school or not, being, let's say, organized in their home can be a problem. Or less reading, more reading. So these are nothing to do with school or not school. These are just situations that come in our day-to-day life. Forget between the child, between two spouses, there can be problem. How one behaves and how one lives one life, right? So it's not about a problem. It's more about seeing that these are the ingredients of, or rather the elements of life. And we spend time in co-creating and understanding each other. The co-creating is equal to understanding, as in the process leads me to understand each other. As much as I understand the child also understands, okay, where is my mom and dad coming from? Yeah, so that's how it goes. And yeah, I think both exert their influence in that sense on each other. So that's how the whole thing works, I think.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, meaning having more people, more families connected to it can give you a sense of support for you, as I said initially. And after some time, you will end up start giving support to others. Okay, there are a few more people who have joined. We have Shikha who has joined, Ravi, so on. Please ask questions or share your thoughts or whatever you are thinking. This is a very, as I said, it's an open meetup. It's for you to start a conversation. Yeah, please go ahead.
Actually, I wanted to ask, like, my son is just 6 years old, but I feel like, can we also attend that camp, that 2 weeks camp that is for 8 years, right?
Yeah. So what I will suggest for you is come for the 1 week experiencing Aarohi. Yeah,
Okay.
that would be ideal for you.
Okay. Like, what are the dates? Like,
Yeah, that's, if you just go to the website, I'll paste the links also.
okay.
You will get the calendar, and from the calendar you can see which week suits you. It's not open for all the
fine.
weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check then. Yeah. I wanted to ask that mainly, like, so whether we can come for that camp also. Yeah. And when you are saying this open learning, so will the child be there in the campus? Like if we want,
Yeah, as I said, I would suggest you come and visit and see how it works. But more
Yes.
importantly, it is not about child being at campus. As I said, first it has to start from the home. At the home, you should say we are doing open learning, not just say in the sense, explore it in your own way. Not you don't have to copy anybody else's formula, but please learn from Santosh and learn from Dwiji and learn from others who are also doing it, how they are doing it, and see what works for you. And let the child also will contribute a lot to how open learning happens at the home. And then when you are as a family here at the campus, whenever, if you are part of the community, you could be here frequently, you could be here constantly, or once in a while, that you will decide. Whenever you are here with a larger group. That's the only difference. It's like you staying in nuclear family and sometimes going to a joint family.
Yes.
So it's the same like that. You are suddenly with more families. Like it's like when cousins and all families come, it's like that. We are like just a bigger family of families.
Yes.
That's the only difference. And obviously there's a bigger space and all that, but those are very small things.
Okay.
Yeah, the real fun is having more people around and doing things and so on. Yeah, more thoughts, more questions. Yeah, for people who have just joined, as I was saying again, that it's a very open meetup. Please share your thoughts, your questions, and we can discuss according to that. We are only sharing what we have experienced, obviously. It is not, none of us are any experts in that sense. We are more just people who have done it, so we can share how our journey has been. And we have seen other people's journeys and we can share that with you.
Ratnesh, I wanted to ask,
Yeah, please.
Kids will seek attention, no? So if they are doing something and more than doing that, they will be interested in our attention to that. So then I will not be able to do anything which interests me. So I just have to keep watching him for the whatever he does. Sometimes I remain surprised that is that how it is, or
I think partly Dwiji already answered your question that when you say that I will not be able to do what I want to do. So that's exactly is co-creation, where you together negotiate. Okay, so this half an hour I can play with you cricket. Next half an hour I need to do this. What will you do in that half an hour? Just giving an example. So when we, they also understand, okay, now this is your time. But when it is your turn to be with them, you are 100% there. And when your turn is to do, let's say, whatever is your work or something else, you're 100% there. So they are also able to, maybe not immediately, it may not be like a switch, but they will soon understand this whole dynamics. Yeah. And
I'll just
Dwiji.
Ratnesh, just want to just sharing my own experience, Anirudh. So when Ibu was much younger, she's 13 now, we would identify that I would come back and report to her what I did in the last 1 hour and tell her, okay, next 1 hour, you do your thing and then come back and tell us what you did. Right? So in some sense, we are engaging with her about and also valuing what she is doing. Right? And very soon what happened was that it became like, oh, she would go tell her friends, don't go disturb my father now. He will come back and then we can play with him.
Okay.
Right? Or that she would be like, okay, now your time is up. Now come on, let's play.
Okay.
So it's also about working with them to identify what works best. It may not work with your son, and you might have to find a different solution, but I'm just sharing. You negotiate.
Okay.
I mean, ultimately, we are all living under some constraint or the other. So, and that's the reality in which the child is also going to grow. It's not like for them everything is infinite. Their enthusiasm is infinite, but then everything else is finite. So,
Okay.
so working with your child on these things also gives them a way of learning how to manage time, how to focus on things, how to compromise, right?
Yes.
So it's a process. Engage with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ratnesh, aren't we doing Coversity stuff today?
Yeah, briefly, I presented in the beginning only. We talked
Correct.
about the Coversity. So one of the things I think what Vijay wants to talk about is one of the things that kind of, let's say, burdens us sometimes in terms of when people choose open learning or unschooling or homeschooling is that, okay, this is all fine. The child can learn different things now, but what will happen when we reach, 14, 15? Will we need to go back to the system, give 10, 12 and a college degree? If we have to do that, then why do this? And so on. So there are lots of, and how will the child become? Will the child be less? As you were saying, will the child be able to structure his or her learning or environment or even doing, and so on? So these are very common questions. And what we have done is we've tried to put it together as a whole progression or a journey, which we call as Coversity, where the whole idea is that the youth, one of the things that youth like is more youth around them. So that's why we called it Coversity, where youth can come together. And not that each one has to do the same thing. Each one can pursue what they like doing and pursue by doing actual work so that they are actually connected with the industry, with the way the world works, and actually learn what a professional skill is, or rather whatever skills they require. And in that sense also gain their own what we call as professional maturity, which will answer all your concerns about structure, planning, thinking. So at that age they start thinking, planning, creating, basically leading themselves, but in a very focused way, because they're trying to work in an area of their interest. So that is what is Coversity. And in a way that's an attempt to show to people that it is not that when you reach 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, you have to by default go to school, college, boards and college. That's one option. That's a wonderful option. There's nothing wrong or right about it. But if you want to chart your own journey, there are so many options available. In fact, the best part about charting your own journey is that you can deep dive in one, and if you don't like it, you can leave it and go into another one and can kind of explore yourself, which we think is the age. This youth age is not about deciding what you want to do in life, rather about exploring many fields so that you find what is it that you would like to become a professional in, and hence spend more time of your life. So yeah, that's one area we are kind of talking to parents who have youth in that age group of 13 to 21, and also inviting them to at least offer this option to children, because especially the teenagers, because they don't have any other option in that sense, other than the conventional routes. So that's the important part for us, and that's why I'm just sharing with you. You can share it with other people in your families. If you have youth in your family, you can share. If you have youth as part of your relatives and friends, you can share with them that there is another way of doing it. Not like they have to jump in, but they can at least think about it and see, hey, is this something that they would like to explore? But if you have a specific question about their professional life and what we call as work certified, where your work speaks for yourself and not necessarily anything else. So yeah, we can discuss those also.
So basically, they try to do some projects or kind of small proof of concept in what they are trying to learn and kind of present it to some forums, Ratnesh, during this camps.
Yeah, only thing is just extend it to one more step. They don't do home projects. They actually do world projects. So they will try to find a client and actually try to do a work for a client, which is like out there, which is not just I can do anything at
like
home.
a real life problem, like
Absolutely, a real life project, which is connected to the industry. They will connect with mentors in the industry who are actually working. They will do internships. And even they can start earning as early as 16, 17, 15 even, if they reach that level, or if they want to earn first. But the main focus is not on earning. The main focus is on working to learn. See, most of us first learn and then work, right? But we are in Coversity, we have just turned it upside down. We say, let's work in the industry, and because we are working, we have to learn, because otherwise, how will I do the work if I don't know what it is? So I automatically will be learning. I'll be learning what is relevant, what is meaningful, which I can implement right now, see the results, and also struggle with it. Not like learning anything is easy. So it's totally hands-on. It's totally practical. It's very engaging, obviously. And it allows you, as I said, to explore different domains, to say, hey, do I want to be a fashion designer, or do I want to be a musician, or do I want to be a whatever, a digital advertiser? What do I want to work on? Which professions do I want, or do I want to work with animals? Or there are like thousands and thousands of professions. Do I want to be a businessman? What do I want to do? So they instead of answering that question in theory, why not do it and see? If you think you like business, go ahead, do a business for a few months, see how it goes, taste the real life, in that sense, real business, or get on and do some business with somebody, so that you get to learn not just the business but also how the others work, how professionals work. So you are quickly picking up those skills.
So this youth are already connected before they come to this 1 week camp in Aarohi, Ratnesh, or is this the first time they'll be meeting there? Are there kids who are
You're
like their
talking
first
about the
time
camp. Yeah, the camp
Yes,
ones. Yeah, so there are two things. One is this 2 weeks camp that they will be meeting for the first time. That is just a small, you can say, sample for the Coversity journey by itself. Now the youth which are part of, so we already have 7 youth who are part of the current Coversity cohort. They are regularly here and they work together. So they live together week after week and they do different works. Each one decides what all different things I want to do. So they co-create. Obviously, all the community is there, the parents are there, we are all there as a support system for them. But the main thing is that they are driving it and they are supporting each other as a youth group. So that's why we call it cohort. So they get together. So they are doing it for the whole year, let's say. They are doing it full time, like a job, literally. Yeah.
So this camp is all about introducing this concept to new youth. Okay.
Yes, if somebody would like to say, okay, what happens in Coversity? How do I experience this? Okay, come for 2 weeks, see the fun of doing something, working. That's why it's called workathon. You full on work. Obviously, you put in your skills, your area of interest into action, and you do it together with other youth. Obviously, these youth, they will know for the first time. They will meet for the first time. And these youth will together create something. And side by side, they can also see what the Coversity youths are doing, the current cohort of 7 of them. They will also interact with them. but those 7 will be separate. They will not be part of this camp because they are already having their own projects and own plans and own things to do.
Okay. Got you. Okay. I just thought of recommending it to some of my other friends who are having 13+-year-old. I'll
Sure,
get
sure.
them to the next Saturday meetup. If they're interested, I'll talk to them and get them. Yeah.
Yeah. If they're interested in the camp starts on 4th, which is the
Okay.
next Monday. If they are in general just want to know about Coversity as a whole journey, which is again, as the whole idea is that the child can lead himself or herself rather than just following other things. So then they can come in a Saturday meetup. We can talk in length about it and they can
Sure.
understand if that is. The youth can also come. In fact, we would like them to come and ask their
Come and ask
questions.
the question. Sure.
Yeah,
Got you.
yeah.
Okay.
We also have many recordings where these youths have shared, the ones who are currently part of Coversity or who have done such professional journeys on their own, have shared their journeys and how they've done it and what they're liking in it and so on.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
details Kirtika has just posted in the chat. So you can use this literally and send it to your friends. You can literally copy paste this.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks Kirtika for that. Okay, we haven't got really a chance to say hello to Ravi and Shikha. You've not really spoken. Would you like to maybe just introduce? And I don't know with what questions and thoughts you have come for this meetup, but if you can just a little bit share so that we understand what are you looking for. It's just an invitation. Yeah. Meanwhile, more thoughts, any other thoughts or questions? We still have about 20 minutes. If you have anything that you would like to discuss.
Santosh has been quiet today. Maybe he's busy with something else.
Oh, I'm here. I'm listening.
So one of the things with creating and learning is also the immediate thing which we kind of I referred to or talked about a little earlier is about failure. Because only when we try to create something will we get a chance to fail at that. So if we are just going by what is already laid out, if we are following a guide to do something, let's say a online video, even then there is a chance of failure. But especially when we try to create something is when we really get into that situation. Oh, will I be able to do it or not? And I feel that at least whenever I have tried to create something and I've said, let's try it out, and it doesn't work, and then you spend some more time and then you get it to work. The thrill that you were mentioning about earlier, Ratnesh, that when you are into something and you want to work on it, then everything else is out of focus. Your vision gets totally focused on this one particular thing, and the result of that is also a thing that gives us a lot of miles. It helps us run for a while because we gain some confidence every time we overcome an obstacle. Every time we create something, we also gain a confidence to one is self-confidence that yes, I can do this, but another is also a confidence to be able to do or take on new things. So a confidence in my resources, in confidence in how I go about things, right? So when we talk about creating and how it is central to open learning, we are also in some sense underlining that it's not just about the learning part. It's about shaping up my own personality, my own perspective, building my self-confidence. And we have seen this many times with open learners, whether it is kids or adults. I mean, I remember recently I was talking to one young man. Not that I'm that old, but still, he was much younger than me. And he was saying, no, that can't be done. I said, fine. I mean, what's the worst that will happen if you try and fail, right? You have an hour to spare. Why don't you try it? And I couldn't convince him, but I had started doing something else. Then I turned around and I saw that he was actually trying to do something that we had talked about. And within half an hour, he came back and said, yeah, that's done. Now give me another challenge. I said, that's great, but why are you asking me for a challenge now? Why don't you frame your own challenge, right? And then I don't know if he did or didn't, but it was very good to see someone try something, create it, and then come back with the confidence and say, hey, I can take on another challenge. And I mean, just reminds me. I mean, reminding myself that I should just check in with him and see if what was the next challenge that he posed himself and how's he doing that. But this idea of creating really helps in self-confidence, also because this aspect was part of the implicit conversation earlier, implicitly part of the conversation earlier, that how do we build that confidence to be able to draw up our own schedules or answer questions and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, we say plan, do, reflect. That's the simple rule of thumb that we use. So, plan how you're going to create a perspective and share it, do that, and then reflect on it. So that's a very simple way of looking at creation and making it part of a learning process, not just a standalone adventure into something. You're on mute, Ratnesh.
Yeah. In some ways, very interestingly, anything that we create has an element of plan, do, reflect. Because before I create something, let's say I want to create a story, I need to plan in my mind, will it be a long story, short story, will it be fantasy, will it be about animals, will it be what will it be about? Then I start doing it, and then I'm automatically reflecting, hey, this is not coming out as I want, this is too boring, this is too stupid, this is very exciting. So, and then I go back and I change few things, so anything that we create, it's so beautiful. This plan, do, reflect, comes automatically. And which is why we say that the real learning is always a creation. And it's a joy. It's a joy to create this learning rather than just taking it just because it's supposed to be learned. And the best example for us is very young children who, like your Anirudh, your 4-year-old or 3 years old or 1 year old, they're all the time creating their learning. And they're not bothered with failures. They will say anything that comes to their mind. They will do anything that comes to their mind. They are not bothered that it will happen, not happen. They will attempt it. They will run and say, I will do it. And it's up to us whether we allow them to do it or we get in their ways. Oh, no, it won't happen this way. Let me show you. In which case we are avoiding the failure. And in that sense, avoiding the creation of learning. Rather, we are passing on the learning to them. So that's the whole idea of open learning too, because it just becomes everyday's joy because you're creating it. You're no more just going in a standard path of knowing something. Ritika, you want to talk a little about any aspect of Coversity? Or these youth or the teenagers and how they think and how we want to invite them to think for themselves. Not about anything else, but for themselves.
Yeah, sure, Ratnesh. Um, yeah, it's been such a journey for us also as adults, Ratnesh, me, and all of us who have been seeing or witnessing these youth who are, kind of, not kind of, who are literally co-creating their professional journeys. And uh, so one of the things that we do is we get onto an Instagram live with them, so you hear it from them as to what they are doing. And there's a lot of action happening in terms of action that's very relevant to them. Like, so if someone is thinking of digital marketing, they're not learning the theories somewhere, and they're actually creating campaigns for uh, could be clients, could be some projects that they are creating by themselves, or sometimes a need by the community. So all the learning, as all the creation or all the learning is very hands-on, very practical, and everything that they learn, they get to apply it. And yes, as Vijay was saying, all the failure and all the struggle, so we can see them go through those struggles, but at the end of it, once they're able to kind of crack the code for themselves, by themselves, that's a joy. That's to witness that joy has been a very enriching experience for me, rather. So yeah, I do request all of you to kind of share this opportunity with others, and especially like 13, 14, 15, before, if you're considering 10, 12, whatever, but before that, if they can look at this option and see what this 1 year of um, doing a lot of work, and along with other youth who are equally passionate about their respective interests, I think it's a very exciting space to be. So do share it with your family circles, friend circles, for youth who you think could benefit from this.
I personally think that the real fun of this Coversity journey is not so much about which domain or what profession I'll end up with, because I could end up with one profession, one domain, or maybe I'll explore 20 in my life. That's immaterial. I think what the real fun is in deciding for myself. It's for designing for myself and debating with myself. This whole you know leading myself is something so empowering, something so enriching to me, uh, something which I think happened for me much later in life, when I started thinking, okay, I need to do what I want to do in life rather than just
I was about to
just
say the
blowing the
same.
flow.
Rather than it hitting you so much later, I think youth, the whole teenage phase, I mean, they are in that energy, they don't have the responsibilities that are usually in a way come your way once you're past that age. So I think the time is very ripe for them to really get into, yeah, and they are in that zone. We can see it, we are witnessing it day in day out. Um, yeah, yeah. So what all of us did much later, well into our late 20s, 30s, I think it's an exciting thing that they can do it much earlier.
Yeah, and I also feel that when it comes to youth and teenagers, there's a lot of what is typically called as rebelling, because invariably we lay down the rules as adults, as parents, as people who know what needs to be done. We lay down the rules and expect that kids would follow, and naturally, as they are seeing more and more of life and living, finding their own feet, they want to try out things. And in some sense, the whole idea of co-creation takes even more of an importance in our relationship to the next generation, when we are looking at youth, because co-creation rests on the idea that we respect the individual, whether it is a child, whether it is a teenager, whether it is a young adult, whether it is an old person, you know. But the idea is that when you are saying, hey, let's co-create something, inherently you're respecting that individual's wishes, their skills, their resources as a person. So the idea of engaging with a teenager in a co-creation mode is very much needed and very much a welcome way of engagement, because it gives them the recognition, it gives them the space that they are seeking. And I'm not trying to say that they will rebel less, but it will give them a confidence that, hey, there is a space, there is a recognition of me as a person. And I think that's one of the one of the important points or aspects of Coversity, that we are not just looking at individuals who need to be trained to become something, or that we are just providing lodging and boarding for youth who don't want to stay at home, right? It's about engaging with them and between each other on how they can co-create, how they can bring out the best in themselves and in their cohort. So that's the way I see Coversity.
Absolutely, Dwiji. Actually, that's a very valid point you brought, and thanks for that. Because yeah, on one part you have the professional expertise that they are, they're in that rigor and whole drive to figure out their interest. But the whole aspect of them doing it by themselves and figuring their lives out is also bringing about a lot of self transformation or self development, as we may want to call it. But they are deciding. So I remember these cohorts, once a week they'll sit together and they will decide, hey, public speaking is something that many of us are kind of grappling with, and that is something that we want to we feel there's a need that we would want to express ourselves better and communicate our points across, be it with a client or between ourselves or with the anyone else in general. So they decided they would sit with each other, do some research, have a solid discussion. And I think those discussions, yes, eventually they would get someone to an adult or a facilitator to come and talk about public speaking or anything. But those discussions that they have between each other, that's that's higher, that's even more enriching, I feel, than what they get externally. So the whole discussions and the whole push and pull that they experience as part of a cohort, that's where that's the challenge part that they go through.
And it's very interesting how, at least in my youthhood, everywhere around me, I'm sure they are still now, but anyway, they was trying to make it easier for me to get better marks or whatever, get better at where am I. And we are talking about how we can have more and more challenges so that these youth can thoroughly grow from inside out, kind of thing. So we are kind of loading them more, saying we are not going to make it easy for you. Or in fact, we don't have to say that. They themselves are making things difficult for them. Just reminding of Srijani's project. So Srijani is one of the Coversity member, and she has taken a project that she will connect with 50 bakers from across the world when she doesn't know any of them. Why would she take such a complicated, tough project that she has to connect with 50 bakers, learn one cake recipe from each one of them, and collate them, and then create her own 51st recipe of cake? So that's her ambitious, not ambitious, but interesting project. So I'm saying here are they love this. She's into baking, but she doesn't mind writing emails, connecting to bakers, talking to them, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think that's the best part of it. And then we don't need to make things easier for them. We need to allow them to make it as tough as they want it to be. We're not trying to make it extra tough for them, but we are inviting them to say, okay, make your life how you design it to be.
And which is what is life as it happens usually,
Yeah.
right? Like, let's talk about a degree or something. Once you get into the job, it's not like we're trying to make anything tough or easier. It's life happening to us day in, day out. So I think they are getting, they're living that. I see that happening through a Coversity journey. I mean, if there's a need, yes, how do I go about it? I plan, I kind of discuss it with others. I see what are the resources I need. So they are putting themselves out there and deciding for themselves, hey, I want to do this. I feel a need to do this. And these are the things I need to, get in place. To just give an example, we just have 1 minute. So for internship, what do I need? I need these skills. How do I go about? These are the forums I need to reach out to. These are the tutorials. These are the courses I might want to take. So it's not like they do everything in isolation, but they decide where and how and from whom they want to kind of, pick their learning or their doing or their journey from. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's 6:30, almost a minute, so we can pause here. Just to remind you all that we have recordings of many sessions. We've lost track of, so I'm not keeping numbers, but somewhere around 140 recordings. Out of this is the 171st 171st meetup. So please check those recordings, go through them, choose and pick whichever they like. Plus, Kritika has posted some curated videos of some of the Coversity youth. So if you want to see them, not only if your children are older, even if your children are younger, it will give you a perspective of how things can be, if you want it, obviously. And yes, keep coming back on these Saturday meetups, as well as you can be part of these camps or for the visits, and let us know how we can help you. Our whole idea is to reach out and help parents embark on this journey, because families to embark on this journey, because sometimes you feel, oh, you are the only one. So rest assured, you are not the only one. There are many of us doing it. So yeah. Okay, so thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend. And yeah, we will see you next Saturday. If you need anything, just reach out to us. I'm also typing my WhatsApp number, or rather Aarohi's WhatsApp number. You can reach out on that. Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. Good day.